What is going on, Laker fans? Thank you very much for tuning in. Lakers Talk Daily, Monday through Friday, right here on 710 on our ESPN LA YouTube page. Please subscribe to the channel. It takes 2 seconds. We would greatly appreciate it, Laker fans. I wish I had better Laker news. Things not getting better for the Los Angeles Lakers. First 10 games are over, and the Lakers are sitting at 2-8. So I want to kind of just go through real quick for today's episode. I really do believe this. I'm trying to be dramatic here, not trying to add extra drama. I really do believe the next 10 games for the Lakers is going to determine this Lakers season. And what I mean by that is which direction that the team is going to go in. Do you feel like you can compete or you can't? Do you feel like you should go out and make a trade and go try to get a couple more role players? Or do you just say, hey, we are not a good team. Do not give up any more draft capital to fix something that is unfixable. That's how important the next 10 games are. So thank you for tuning into the show. Okay, so we all know 2-8. 2-8 is how the Lakers started. Tough schedule. We knew that from the beginning. And who the hell would have thought that the games that you thought were going to fall to the Lakers' advantage, like the Portland Trail Blazers, like the Utah Jazz, that those actually became 3 losses. And those are 2 of the top 3 teams in the Western Conference right now. Hell, the Utah Jazz have the best record in the Western Conference through the first 10 games of the year. I think they're 9-3 at this point. So you had to play the Warriors. They haven't been nearly as good. You had to play the Clippers. They haven't been nearly as good. You had 2 against Denver that you split. You had Minnesota. You had the Jazz, like I mentioned. Pelicans and Cleveland. So this is where the Lakers are. Let's pretend it was a really tough schedule to start off. The next 10 Laker fans, let me point them out to you, and this is why I determine how this is kind of the difference of the Lakers still being in this mix or not by the time this is done. If you're not 7-3 over these next 10 games, 6-4 at the worst, you're just not a good basketball team. And I don't think anybody out there is going to come in and save the day for you. So this is who the Lakers got. They got Clippers tomorrow. Don't get me wrong. I know that's a tough game. Clippers are not playing all that good, but they're still the Clippers, and they got talent, and maybe they're figuring some stuff out. Yesterday they were playing the Cleveland Cavaliers while the Lakers were taking on the Jazz, and they were down 12 with a couple of minutes left to go, and they came back. They went on a 15-0 run. They eventually beat the Cavs. After that, you got 4 games at home. Sacramento, Brooklyn, Detroit, Spurs, all winnable games. Every single one of them. Now, I'm not going to go out here and predict that the Lakers will go 4-0. They don't deserve the benefit of the doubt, and we shouldn't be doing that with the Lakers because they haven't given you any idea that they can go on a 4-game winning streak. But it's not like I'm naming off Milwaukee and Boston and, Denver and Utah. No, I'm not. I'm naming off Sacramento, Brooklyn, Detroit, and San Antonio. Then you got a game at Phoenix, of course, a tough game. 2 games on the road against the San Antonio Spurs, and then you finish up the month with Indiana and Portland both at Crypto. I'm going to repeat this again, Laker fans. If you're not 6-4 at the absolute worst, hopefully 7-3. And you walk out of this stretch where even if you played 500 basketball, or even worse than that, let's say you went 3-7 over this 10-game stretch, and the Lakers are now 5-15 walking into the month of December. There is no trade out there that's really going to change, the entire scope of this thing, and it may just not be worth doing it. The reason why I say if you're 7-3 or you're a 6-4, you could tell yourself at least, okay, we went through the tough part of the schedule. We came back, we bounced back, we won some games. How are they looking when they win? Are they playing better defense? That obviously has a lot to do with it. But the way I look at it is, remember that Woj had put out a tweet a couple weeks ago and said, look, the Lakers are, and the NBA, most of the teams are not going to make a move until after Thanksgiving. And maybe, just maybe, if the Lakers can play some good basketball over these next 10 games, maybe there's teams out there that thought they were going to be competitive and they're not. Maybe there's some teams out there that say, okay, we want part of the sweepstakes of giving up some of our role players, kind of clearing some of our cap. We'll take Russell's expiring contract. They'll get some draft compensation doing it, but maybe they're not asking as much as a Indiana or a San Antonio. That's where I think the Lakers, that was their perfect scenario was, if you can get to a point 20 games in where you're hovering around 500, and then all of a sudden there's more opportunities to go make a trade, that, in my opinion, is the month of November was going to determine what the Lakers' future is going to be for December, January, February, March. The whole rest of the season, I think, is going to lie on how the results of the next 10 games go. So that's my personal opinion. I don't want the Lakers to wave the white flag. I don't. I still, want to see if LeBron James and Anthony Davis with the right role players can be a competitive team. But that ain't going to happen if you go 3-7 over the next 10 games. Then maybe I am waving the white flag and saying, okay, there's no trade out there that's going to change everything. Keep your draft picks. Let Russ's contract expire and just figure out what you're going to do moving forward. Maybe you're rebuilding the whole thing. Maybe you're not. But I think if you went 7-3 or you went 6-4, I think there are moves out there to be had where you could still compete the rest of this year. So maybe I'm being too optimistic. This is where you can give your opinion and your thoughts. Laker fans, what do you think? Do you agree? The next 10 games, whether you're a 7-3 team or a 3-7 team, should dictate how the Lakers treat the trade deadline, how they treat trading Russell Westbrook, how they treat giving up some of those draft picks. Let us know what you think. Appreciate you guys being a part of the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. Like I mentioned, ESPN LA, just hit subscribe. You could also find me on Lakers Talk with Alan Sliwa. Hit subscribe there as well. Thank you, Lake fans. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Back tomorrow, preview the Lakers and the Clippers.